We got Facebook Live over here. We've got Instagram Live over here. What is up, PT on Ice Daily Crew? I'm Dr. Mark Gallant, super excited to be here for Clinical Tuesday. I'm lead faculty of the Ice Extremity Division alongside Lindsay Huey and Eric Chicones. Coming at you today to talk about what we believe is the best way to cue exercise in the clinic. Before we dive into that topic, we got to tell you all about the courses we have coming up here over the next couple weeks. So this weekend, we have the modern management of the older adult crew. They're going to be in Evans, Georgia. And then Justin Dunaway with total spine thrust manipulation. He's going to be hanging out in Hendersonville, Tennessee. So he's going to be hanging out with Zach and Alexis Morgan. That should always be a blast. I'm sure they're going to get a great workout in at CrossFit Hendersonville. Then the next weekend, the last weekend of August, ICE is going big. We have a bunch of courses around the country. We've got lumbar management in Georgia as well. I'm going to be in Cheyenne, Wyoming, so come hang out with me doing extremity management out there. I'd love to meet you all on the road. Then we've got the fitness athlete crew. They're going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then cervical spine will be in Victor, New York. So a lot of opportunities over the next 2 weeks to meet up with us on the road. We hope to see you all there. And then, of course, all of the fall cohorts for the online courses, they're filling up fast. So make sure you get your seats for that before it's too late and you have to wait until 2022. All right. So if you've hopped on over the past few weeks, I've been on here talking about some of the principles of strength training and how we can use those in the clinic, and some of the principles of muscle hypertrophy and making local muscle tissue changes and how we can use those clinically. This week, I want to talk to you about the best way to cue your athletes in the clinic. And any of you who have taken the fitness athlete courses, you know how important it is to us and how much we believe that coaching and cueing before over physical therapying people is such an important thing, right? If we can just give someone a cue or coach them up a little bit in 5 minutes and resolve a lot of their issues and not have to have them go through an 8 to 12 week course of physical therapy when we could have given them a 30-second cue, that is always our number one option. So when it comes to the world of cueing, no one has done more research than Gabrielle Wolfe. She has literally spent her career looking at what the best way to cue athletes is and clients. And so what she's found is when it comes to athletic movements, things like the snatch, the clean and press, the deadlift, the squat, you name it, running, sprinting, all of those type of athletic movements, it is extrinsic cues or external cues that always come up for the win. So having the athlete or the client reference their environment and not look deeply internally, referencing their environment seems to make things work out best from a muscle engagement standpoint, from the way the movement looks. It overall just seems to be better. And so what she's shown in her research is that the accuracy, the consistency of movement, the balance of movement, force production, even the cardiovascular response seems to improve when we use external cues. In addition, even just kinematics, like the way the movement looks, how elegant it looks, seems to improve much better when we're using external cues versus internal cues. Well, Gabrielle Wolfe did all of this research, and then Nick Winkelmann just took it and ran with it. So Nick Winkelmann is, he runs he's the strength and conditioning coach for the Irish rugby team, and he's also been on our Vice, but he wrote this wonderful book right here called The Language of Coaching. And it's a pretty heady, cerebral book, but it is just so elegant in how he describes the way that we need to use our language with these external cues to get the most out of our clients and athletes. And what Nick Winkelmann would say is he uses this system of we want to use a noun, a verb, and a preposition, and use combinations of the noun, verb, preposition to get the most out of these external cues. So the noun is going to be the reference point to the athlete. So the ceiling, the floor, the end zone, the finish line, the ground. It's what the athlete is going to be referencing off of. The verb is going to create the intensity of the movement. So punch, push, drive, press. You can realize how each of those words or those verbs are going to create a different intensity of the movement, right? Me punching towards the ceiling versus pressing towards the ceiling is potentially going to create a different velocity or intensity of the movement. And then the preposition is going to be the direction you want the athlete to go. So into, through, away from, towards, punch through the ceiling, press towards the ceiling, push away from the ground. So when might we use some of these extrinsic type cues? Well, if you remember from a couple weeks ago when I introduced you to Al, remember Al, he's 65 years old, he scored 4 touchdowns in a high school football game, he used to have a 500-pound deadlift, but recently Al hasn't really had many athletic accomplishments, and he's having a hard time getting his luggage from his chest to the overhead compartment while he's flying on airplanes. Well, Al really doesn't need for us to focus on his deltoid. He doesn't need to focus deeply on his pecs. What Al needs to focus on is getting that luggage from his chest to overhead. So, Al, I want you to press the luggage. I want you to press the luggage towards the ceiling. Al, I want you to punch your hands towards the sky. Al, I want you to press the luggage away from the ground. Those are all going to be cues that help Al get as many motor units, as many muscles working in concert together, everything just kind of diving in and really syncing up. So for big athletic movements, running, sprinting, jumping, squatting, deadlifting, Olympic lifting, it's always going to be external cues that we really want to focus on. Now, when we're trying to create local muscle tissue changes, right, when the biceps is the problem, when the pronator teres is the problem, or those regions are our big issues, we want to do the exact opposite. We want to focus so deeply internally that we're creating this cascade of connecting the nerves, the cortex, the muscles, all deeply to each other. So we've all probably seen these pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's like staring at his bicep as he's doing bicep curls, or heard stories of Arnold talking to his calves and willing them to grow. Well, this used to all be kind of ridiculous, right? Like just like weird things that bodybuilders did to make themselves believe that they were helping their muscles grow. But what we now know is from research from cats like Brad Schoenfeld is that this is all actually real, that the more deeply and intrinsically you focus, you're going to get more motor excitability from the cortex, and you're going to get a deeper connection from the nerves to the muscles that are going to create a cascade for local tissue change. So if again, we're talking about characters from the past couple weeks, if we've got Brian, he's the beast baseball player who is plenty strong, but he's having medial elbow pain. When Brian is doing his pronator teres exercises and his flexor digitorum superficialis, his wrist flexion, I want him literally staring at those muscles. I want him staring at his forearm and thinking, every rep, I'm making changes. I'm making local tissue changes. It sounds kind of crazy and woo-woo, but the research is there that when we focus this way, it really does make more profound changes to the local tissue. So we don't want Brian talking to his girlfriend on the phone while he's doing his wrist curls or his pronation. We don't want Brian checking Sports Center and seeing what happened on the local games. We don't want him watching his favorite TV show. We want Brian so deeply engaged and focused, and that is going to maximize our progress as quickly as possible. So again, to recap, when it comes to big athletic movements, it is always external cues for the win. Punch towards the ceiling, press towards the sky, push away from the ground. We want to reference other areas externally so that we can get as much muscle activation from as many muscles and as many motor units as possible. When it's coming to focused local exercise, we want deep internal cues, right? We want to focus all of our energy on that one area so the brain and the nervous system connect deeply to that area to make more profound local tissue changes. We would love to chat with you more about this. Hit us up in the comments if you've got any questions, if you've got anything to add to it. Can't wait to see you all out on the road in Cheyenne in a week. I'm beyond excited. Looking forward to meeting all of you. Have a great rest of your week.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.